Right now, you are holding a piece of a specific mountain in the Atacama Desert. Whether it's the device you're watching this on, the wiring in your walls, or the car sitting in your driveway, your entire modern existence is tethered to a single desolate coordinate in northern Chile. Deep in the Andes lies a treasure so vital that if its production stops for even a week, the entire global tech industry begins a slow-motion collapse. This isn't just about money, it's about the very survival of the 21st century. This is the story of Escondida, the mountain that owns us. We like to think of the digital age as something ethereal, stored in a cloud, transmitted through waves. But the reality is much more visceral. It is made of rock, grit, and heat. Every electric vehicle, every smartphone, and every renewable energy grid depends on one element: copper. And nearly 10% of the world's supply comes from this one location. But here's the problem. The world's hunger for this metal is exploding, while the mountain itself is literally running out of its highest quality ore. If this supply chain snaps, the green revolution doesn't just slow down, it dies. To understand the stakes, we have to go back to a time before the silicon chip. For centuries, this mountain was just another jagged peak in the driest place on Earth. It was called Escondida, Spanish for the hidden one. For decades, geologists walked right over it, unaware that beneath their boots lay the largest deposit of copper ever discovered by man. It wasn't until 1981 that a team of drillers finally hit the mother lode. But they didn't find gold or diamonds. They found something far more valuable to a growing planet. Now, imagine the scale. This isn't just a mine, it's a geological industrial machine. We are talking about an operation that moves over 350 million tons of rock every single year. The trucks used here, they are the size of 3-story houses. A single tire costs $40,000 and weighs 5 tons. But here's the part nobody talks about. To get to the copper, they have to destroy the mountain. They are literally grinding a geographic landmark into dust to keep your iPhone charged. But the logistics are only half the story. The real tension lies in who controls it. Escondida is operated by BHP and Rio Tinto, two of the most powerful corporate entities on the planet. They aren't just mining companies, they are effectively sovereign states. When they speak, governments listen. Why? Because the global economy is currently addicted to what they have. Every time a laborer at Escondida threatens to strike, the price of electronics in London, New York, and Tokyo begins to twitch. It's a delicate, high-stakes game of chicken played out 10,000 feet above sea level. Now, this changes everything. We are told the future is electric. We are told that by 2035, internal combustion engines will be a thing of the past. But there's a massive lie hidden in that promise. An electric car requires 4 times as much copper as a gasoline car. A wind turbine requires miles of it. To meet the world's climate goals, we will need to mine more copper in the next 20 years than we have in the last 3,000 years combined. Think about that. We are betting the entire future of the human race on our ability to dig holes faster and deeper than ever before. But here's where it gets worse. Copper is getting harder to find. In the 1900s, copper ore was around 4% pure. Today, at Escondida, it's less than 1%. That means to get the same amount of metal, we have to dig up 4 times as much rock, use 4 times as much energy, and consume astronomical amounts of water in a desert where it hasn't rained in years. This brings us to the water crisis. You see, you can't process copper without water, millions of gallons of it. But Escondida is located in the Atacama, the driest nonpolar place on Earth. For years, the mine pumped water from ancient underground aquifers, effectively draining the lifeblood of the local indigenous communities. The tension reached a breaking point. The Chilean government stepped in. The mine was forced to stop using fresh water. Their solution? build a billion-dollar desalination plant on the coast, and pump seawater 10,000 feet up a mountain through a massive pipeline. This added billions to the cost of production. And who do you think pays for that? You do. Every time you buy a laptop or a Tesla, you are paying for the energy it took to lift the Pacific Ocean over a mountain range. But even this may not be enough, because while the costs are rising, the quality of the ore is still dropping. We are reaching a point of diminishing returns that the markets are choosing to ignore. But wait, it gets even more complicated. Enter the geopolitical chessboard. China currently consumes over 50% of the world's copper. They don't just want it, they need it to survive. They have been quietly buying up stakes in mines across South America and Africa. They understand that in the 21st century, the country that controls the copper controls the world's energy. If a conflict were to break out, say over Taiwan, and the supply from Escondida was cut off or diverted, the Western world's transition to green energy would grind to a halt overnight. We would be left with half-finished battery gigafactories and no way to wire them. This is the part they don't teach you in economics. Our high-tech future is incredibly fragile. It's held together by a thin copper wire that leads back to a single pit in Chile. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. While we are looking at the mountain, we should be looking at the trash. You'd think with copper being this vital, we'd be recycling every scrap of it, but we aren't. In fact, globally, we only recycle about 30% of our copper. The rest? It's sitting in landfills, inside your old Nokia phones and discarded microwaves. It is actually cheaper for companies to destroy a mountain in Chile than it is to build the infrastructure to reclaim the copper from our own garbage. We are literally throwing away the future to save a few dollars in the present. But that era is ending. As the ore grades at Escondida continue to decline, the price will eventually hit a tipping point. And that's when the real chaos begins. We are approaching what experts call peak copper. It's not that the copper is gone. There's plenty of it in the Earth's crust. It's that we are running out of copper that is economically viable to extract. To get to the deeper deposits, we would need to spend more energy than the copper itself is worth. It's a physical limit that no amount of venture capital can fix. Now, some people say the solution is deep-sea mining. They want to send giant robotic vacuums to the bottom of the ocean to suck up copper nodules. Others want to mine asteroids. But let's be real. We can't even manage a hole in the ground in Chile without causing a water crisis and a labor war. Do we really think we can manage the bottom of the Pacific or the vacuum of space? The reality is that for the foreseeable future, we are stuck with Escondida. This one mountain is the bottleneck for the entire human race. If the trucks stop, the world stops. If the pipeline bursts, the world stops. If the workers walk out, the world stops. We have built a global civilization that is incredibly advanced, yet it is entirely dependent on a 19th century industry, digging a very large hole. So where does this leave us? We are standing at a crossroads. We can continue to grind down the earth, hoping that the hidden one has enough left to satisfy our infinite growth, or we can fundamentally change how we value the materials that make our lives possible. Copper isn't just a commodity, it's the nervous system of humanity, and we are currently treating it like it's disposable. Next time you look at your phone, don't just see the screen or the apps. Look through the glass, past the silicon, and see the mountain. See the massive trucks, the salt-crusted pipelines, and the thousands of people working in the thinnest air on Earth, just so you can send a text. Because the truth is, we don't own our technology. The mountain owns it. And the mountain is starting to demand a price we might not be able to pay. The war for the future isn't being fought in Silicon Valley. It's being fought in the red dust of the Atacama. And right now, we're losing.